Good afternoon, my people. What is going on, Wealth Our Way family? It is your man, Charles Tank Harris, the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform, Wealth Our Way, where our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. Today is Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you who are going to be here with me today live as I stream across Facebook and YouTube. And always a special salute and shout out to Wealth Our Way Nation, who gets their 15 minutes of financial literacy whenever they can squeeze it in at night, over the weekend, on their lunch break, under the sink, fixing a leaky sink. It doesn't matter as long as you are with us. I love you for being here and I thank you. Yo, today was crazy. You don't know, you see me in the car because what happened was wifey surprised me with an impromptu, it's the month of Tank. Tomorrow's the birthday. She surprised me with an emergency impromptu spa treatment, which I really needed on the hands and the feet. They were atrocious. And the appointment was for 11. She told me I'd be done by 12. I knew better. I got there 10 minutes early, but I literally jumped up, put my shoes on, got out the pedicure chair at 12:26 to make sure that we didn't miss a second of the broadcast because, as they say, the show must go on. Today, we're going to talk about how much I or you can afford to invest. I've been having some very interesting conversations with people of late, people who are interested in the Wealth Our Way platform, becoming clients, other people who have asked me to speak at various locations. And it's very interesting to me and not so much surprising, but still interesting that with all of the information that is available, there is still a great amount of confusion about certain topics. So I wanted to address today the amount of money one can afford to invest. And more importantly, I think the difference between investable assets and non investable assets, because there is a major difference. You guys have heard me talk before about the difference between savings and investments. Well, we can take it a step further and not just delineate between what is savings funds and what are investment funds, and say that there are some funds that are neither. There are some funds that are purely day to day living funds. And a lot of times, we're going to keep our day to day living funds in cash or a very liquid cash equivalent. So I'm going to stop right here and talk about a couple of definitions. Let's talk about liquid. Liquid means I can spend it right now. Liquid means I can use it and do what I want to do with it right now. Liquid is short for saying something has liquidity. Liquidity is just like you think when you pour water into a cup. It's liquid, it's free flowing, it's no resistance to it. I don't have to wait 3 days to get it. So I tell people cash in a bank account and credit accessed either through a line of credit or a credit card, they're equal forms of liquidity, things that I can use immediately to spend down on something I need to purchase that helps my purchasing power. So when I tell you that your short-term expenses should be able to be met by your liquid funds, that means you are not to invest, you are not even to save monies that you need to meet your day-to-day obligations. And right now, I'm seeing with the increased conversation around investments, the increased conversation around financial literacy, there are a lot of people who are in such a rush to get involved. And I commend everybody who is looking to increase their net worth by getting involved in assets that grow over time. However, you got to do what's right for you. And that is one of the reasons I find information like shows like my own and shows on the internet can sometimes be harmful if the person giving out the information is not careful to say that this is general information and everybody's situation requires a little bit of individual tailoring. Maybe not as much individual tailoring as someone might want you to believe it requires because they want to sell you more than you need, but it does require some individual, hey, my situation is this, so I need to do that type of thinking. So that's liquidity. Now let's go and define savings. Savings are funds that are put away that have no chance of decreasing in value other than decreasing purchasing power because they don't keep up with inflation. So that's a lot. So let me revisit it and give you an example. Savings are funds that have no ability to decrease in value, except for their ability to purchase the same goods today in the future. They could decrease in purchasing power. So if you put $1 million in a checking account, and let's just say that the FDIC insurance guaranteed the entire million, which it doesn't, but let's for the argument's sake say it does. You could leave that $1 million in that account for 30 years. It is guaranteed to be $1 million 30 years from now. They may even have some interest rate that they're paying. The interest would not be guaranteed because the interest is subject to change whenever the bank desires to change it. But the actual money that you put in is guaranteed. You take it out 30 years from now, and let's just say a Mercedes Benz 500 is $200,000 fully loaded, with the whole tank, big tank kit on it. 200,000 today. Today I could have bought 5 of those cars with that $1 million. I promise you that in 30 years you're going to be able to buy 4, maybe even less. That means that your $1 million doesn't purchase the same things, but it's still $1 million. You didn't lose any dollars on your statement or your computer screen, but what you can buy with the million is less. That's savings. Savings is guaranteed to not decrease in value. So don't compare savings to investments. I see people do it all the time. Sometimes people think I'm being very picky, very much a jerk or a stickler for details and definitions, because they'll say, oh, I save 15% of my paycheck every week. I say, what do you do with it? It goes into my 401k. You're not saving that money. You're investing that money. And it's the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. So can't go down in value, tends to not grow very rapidly. You are paying a price for the safety of the guarantee that it won't go down. That price is limited upside. Now let's go to investments. Investments fluctuate wildly in value depending on how safe or risky the investment is. It can fluctuate very, very wildly. The risk that you are taking with that investment should be rewarded with a certain amount of return. The more risk you are willing to stomach, i.e., the more ups and downs of value that you're willing to accept, the higher ultimate rate of return you should expect. So we have investments, we have savings, and we have short-term liquidity. We need as the saying goes, we need a clue in each of those streams. We need to have an oar in each of those bodies of water. So it is very important to have enough cash on hand to meet your daily living expenses, or else you're going to rely on credit. Credit costs money. You are hustling backwards if you are using credit to pay your short-term needs, because you are hurting your net worth. Because remember, net worth is defined by everything you own minus that has a high interest rate. And lowering your net worth, you are not building wealth. You are eroding your wealth. So that's why one of the things we talk about here at Wealth Our Way, first and foremost, is getting debt minimized. There is good debt that we want to have, but for the most part, debt costs money. And unless we're making more money from the debt that we're taking on, we don't like debt here at Wealth Our Way. How much money can you afford to invest? Once we have the definitions clear on liquidity, savings, and investments, and then once we accept that we need to have a little bit in each one, now we're getting closer to our answer. That answer is going to be different for you than it is for me, than it is for Brother Delroy, than it is for Sister Tashawana. Everybody has a different answer to that question on how much they can afford. At Wealth Our Way, what I encourage my clients to seek as a goal is to invest 15% of their gross income and to save 10% of their gross income. That is a high, lofty number. So we aim to get there incrementally. We may start with an investment goal of 5% and a savings goal of 1%. and we will keep trying to build until we get to that 15 and 10. We may never get to the 15 and 10. I get a lot of pushback on the savings number because, once again, savings does not yield a high amount of return. I get people who are committed to putting away 25% of their income, but they don't like that ratio of 15% in investments, 10% in savings. And here's what I say to them: we're going to do it your way, because it's wealth our way. It's not wealth my way. It's wealth our way. And at the end of the day, my investment, savings, financial management, financial planning experience is supposed to tailor a program for the individual that makes sense for them. And that's where the our comes from. So it's not always what I say. I'm not a dictator. I'm a purveyor of information. And I wish for everyone to find something that works for them, because the best plan is the plan you're going to stick to. That is the best plan. So the plan that you're doing may not be the same plan that the cat up the street is doing. It may not be the plan that your ex-girlfriend is doing. It may not be the plan that the cat at the gym is doing, because everybody's plan needs to be best for them. And guess what? There is no right or wrong plan. That's the other misinformation that we go by here, is we look at someone else and what they're doing, and we think that is what we should be doing. We should not be doing what everyone else is doing. We should be doing what works for us. And us, I'm talking to you individually. Anyone who's watching this, recorded or live, you have a different temperament. You have a different financial situation. You have a different risk tolerance. You have a different time horizon. You have a different investment goal than most other people. You're unique. So you need to tailor a system that works exactly for your situation, or you're not going to stick to it. If you've taken on something that has way too much risk for your personal appetite, when the market corrects and turns down, you're going to run, and you're going to cost yourself long-term money. If you're the type of person who doesn't care too much about risk, and you're in something that's ultra conservative, and every time you look at it, it's barely moved up, you're going to run. You're going to say, this isn't for me. If you are over budgeted, if you heard me talk and you heard other people talk, and you hear the importance of putting money away so you can become a millionaire one day, and you take away from the money that pays your bills, you're going to run, because you're going to find yourself in debt, managing your day-to-day expenses, trying to put too much money into long-term money. And then what ultimately is going to happen is you're going to crack, and you're going to go into that long-term investment plan or that savings plan, and you're going to take money out to meet your short-term goals. That's not our objective here. We are not trying to do anything that's impossible to sustain, because, once again, the only plan that is the right plan is the plan that you are willing to stick to and sustain throughout. So, with that being said, I want to really kind of try to hammer down in the last 2 minutes to what number you can afford. Here's what I tell people as a general rule of thumb. When you look at your gross revenue, your gross take home pay, the first thing you should do is, you want to hear me say the word a lot of you guys are overly used to, you should budget. You should look at where you want to be with each dollar that you make. And then you should look through your debit card and credit card and bank statements and see actually how much money you have spent. You should compare and contrast. I would look to start at a baseline of 3% of my gross revenue as an investment goal. And I would look at 1% for a savings goal to start. And I would look to grow that each year when I get a raise. And if you do that, before you know it, you will be at the 15% for investments and the 10% in savings. And then your questions will be where to put the money. And that's a whole nother Wealth Our Way segment. So I am looking very much forward to getting with you cats tomorrow on June 4th, which is Big Tank Day. It's my birthday tomorrow. I turn 51 years of age tomorrow. Looking forward to sharing that time with you guys at 12:30. Also, tomorrow's Real Rap Friday. I got a special edition birthday rap coming up. So I'm looking forward to that. Any of you guys that have been rocking with me from day one, I just want to give you a heartfelt thank you. You know, I'm feeling real grateful today. I'm feeling a lot of gratitude. So I want to let you guys know I'm grateful for your support, your love, and everything that you bring to Wealth Our Way, because I'd be here talking to myself if it wasn't for you guys. So I thank you very much. I want to remind you always that our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. You guys have a great day. Take care.